Thank you for joining us today. We'll be starting our webinar in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting shortly. Well, we'll get started here. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinars. My name is Lori Berman. I'm the Vice President of Membership and Development for the Small Business Association of Michigan. We do these webinars monthly for additional information for you to help you with those things, help you to be a better business owner, help you to have a more efficient business. Today, we have a special webinar for you. It's the new TV for small business. And before I introduce our speaker, I just wanted to give you a couple tips on the webinar for today. We will be recording this, so if you'd like to watch it afterwards or share it with someone else, you will find it on our website next week. Feel free to ask questions during the presentation today, and I will flag them, and our speaker will answer them for you. So as we get going, I will introduce then Matt Spadafora. Matt is the Regional Sales Manager for Comcast. Comcast Spotlight and Comcast Business has been a great partner of SBAM's over the years. And we thank you, Matt, for being here with us today. And I will let you take it away.
Great. Thank you, Lori, and welcome everyone. Hopefully everyone gets an opportunity to enjoy the beautiful day we were granted today. What I want to share with you today are some of the changes that have taken place in TV and video programming and advertising in the last couple of years. If you're engaged with marketing in any way, video is an area you are likely either engaged or are very interested in for the future. Today, there is so much video being created and so many different channels to view it on. And that provides a great opportunity for marketing, but it also can be extremely confusing. In fact, so much has changed, we think television needs a new label. I hope this helps you understand some of these trends better so you can determine how TV and video can work for you, whatever form that might take. We set out this journey to understand the new TV because of requests from our advertising clients. Local businesses and advertisers are looking for new tools to get their messages delivered, and they want TV and video to act more like digital. They want to bring their own client data. They want attribution. They want addressability. We also agree, we want those items as well, and we're working to be able to deliver these to you as soon as we possibly can. But we also want to step back and understand what makes TV new, other than a few new bells and whistles. On one hand, we know there is more programming on TV than ever before. Everyone has their favorite show or shows. On the other hand, some people think TV is dead. But how can it be both at the same time? We spent a lot of time thinking about this and doing a ton of research on it. And we have a very different view from the cliches sometimes we keep reading about in the trades. We believe the medium of video itself is new. In a way, it was easy to miss. Our use of social media, all the apps we use, everybody crouched over their phones. Anyone with kids understands what they're doing all day long. They're buried in their phones. They get a new message every 1 to 2 seconds around the clock. TV video has evolved dramatically, but it's taken a little bit of time. The end result is one in change, making the medium dynamic with new players and unrecognizable players, therefore needing a new name, the new TV. We also believe that as a result of the fundamental change in the medium, that there is a change required from advertisers to capture the full value of a data-enabled new video. Today, we're going to examine two major drivers of the new TV. One from the consumer's perspective. Consumers are getting new types of content than they did in the early days of TV, and they're getting it in many new ways. The question is this having an effect on their behaviors? Are they engaging with the medium the same way they used to? Second, from the advertiser's perspective, data is changing our toolkits. Data enables audience targeting and enables attribution. So if you bring data to premium video, can you use it? Not just for upper funnel brand advertising, but for full funnel purchasing intent, which result in new advertising. Many advertisers are attempting to do that very thing. In our last chapter, we'll take a look at some of our accomplishments to date. Let's start with content. The narrative about TV being traditional medium tells us something that TV's brand is much stuck in the past, even if the medium isn't. Early TV was about bringing the most people together around a common set of shows. These shows had broad appeal. They were safe. They rallied the entire culture. They were so successful that TV's brand is still stuck in that mentality. We would argue that early TV ended in 1998 when Seinfeld concluded its 9-season run on NBC. Like James Joyce's Ulysses that broke the novel, Seinfeld, by going meta, really broke early TV. What emerged from the early TV period was the first phase of new TV. This started the year after Seinfeld ended in 1999 with The Sopranos. The Sopranos cracked open TV by introducing the richness of character, the good writing, the violence and sex and drugs of great films into the TV format. They paved the way for other highest quality shows, which mostly appeared on premium cable networks on Showtime and HBO, where the controversial content was protected by a paywall. This period extended from 1999 to 2007. Phase 2 is when Mad Men appeared. Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and Walking Dead. They brought the same sophisticated, great writing and content into basic cable programming. That gave away to phase 3, kicking off in 2013 with House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, Transparent, and all other programs produced by subscription video on demand content producers. Ironically, the medium has become full circle now, as broadcast networks have also got their groove back as leading edgy TV producers with shows like Empire and This Is Us. And all these phases add up to what has been called peak TV. In addition to the output of traditional TV producers, SVOD producers have pushed the envelope of this medium over the edge. Everyone on this call today, I'm sure, has watched at least one program from either Netflix or Amazon Prime, and we see what they're doing with all of it. In fact, in 2018, over $67 billion was spent making all this content. If we take a look at the estimated number of original scripted series, let's just go back to 2010. There was 216 original scripted series that ran on broadcast cable and online services. In 2018, there was 495. All this content, what are we doing with it all? Everything old is new again. We can also look at, excuse me, I have a cold. That's just new content. Previous series are also making huge comebacks, creating a new time dimension. Content is more evergreen than ever before. Shows like The Office and Friends are popular again after being made available on Netflix and Hulu. It also created something new that was not even around 10 years ago, and that's called binge watching. If we take a look at what Full House did when it originally came out, it took us 8 years to enjoy the entire library of all their shows. When it was released last year on Hulu, nearly 30,000 people binged all 192 episodes of Hulu in 1 month. What cements this point is the degree in which content is now available. The investment is not just going to the content, it's going to the pipes, the access points, the way consumers can watch shows. Look at us, we're the viewer right here in the middle. We're presented with content from all these parties we just described, from broadcasters to basic cable to premium cable to SVOD producers. The publisher's content then is carried by cable and satellite companies like Comcast, Spectrum, AT&T, broadcast stations, subscription services like Netflix and Hulu, and there's a ton of other niche players that are out there and available for our use. Strict TV Everywhere apps also allow us to stream content on anybody's broadband that you've already paid for through your home subscription. These services and apps in turn are available on many devices, ranging from smart TVs made by LG, Samsung. You can also access it through Roku devices, Apple TV, Google Chromecast, Roku devices. Not only is video dominant in time, it also delivers unparalleled reach. 27% of US audiences watch video on a tablet on a weekly basis. 23% watch video on a PC weekly. Half of us watch video on a connected device weekly with an average of over 5 hours per week. That's why everyone's talking about OTT, and that's the biggest key buzzword that you hear whenever anyone trying to sell advertising is talking to you. Over 60% of people watch video on a smartphone. Anyone with kids and you're sitting around at practice, if you look around, instead of people talking to each other, they're burying it in their phones. On top of that, 91% of adults do watch video weekly traditionally. In all, a compelling story about the way video has evolved for today's consumer. The consumer is drinking from a fire hose of amazing new and old content. It's being fed to them through dozens of services and on many, many different devices. Virtually anywhere you can download content or carry your device around. They're spending a substantial amount of time with that, over 5.5 hours per day with video, and it's reaching over 90% of the US audience every week, and probably more than that. So it's a fantastic environment for advertising, but we may, fairly pose this challenge. Video still can be boring it can still be a boring ad environment if you're advertising on it like we used to advertise back in the 90s when Seinfeld was on. Is video advertising keeping up with the consumer experience? We're going to talk a little bit about data. When data comes in, we think the addition of big data to video is the other key component that makes video new, especially specifically as it relates to advertising. The traditional media measurement providers are starting to evolve their approach very slowly. Comscore was a pioneer in using RPD, or return path data. Nielsen is joining in with their plans and releasing RPD fueled currencies as well. Smart TVs also make the availability of data much more broad. However, for the most part, and especially for local advertising, advertisers and their agencies are still using a panel-based currency. As these changes in viewership evolve, companies like Comcast, Spectrum, and many others are able to access in a privacy-friendly way the viewing data from our set-top boxes. We are able to examine what, how, when, how long audiences are watching linear TV for live, DVR, and VOD or video on demand viewing experiences. The data being aggregated definitely qualifies as big data, with 11 trillion viewing events being captured per year, 3 billion hours of viewing per month across 39 states and 79 markets. That's Comcast's data, but you can multiply that by many, many more with all of our like companies. The scale of the set-top box-based viewing is substantial, and one of the important developments is it enables us a more granular view into consumer insights. In the old way of doing TV audience planning, a survey sourced of around 200,000 people was used to get insights into how different consumers use video, and that's nationwide. Now at Comcast, I'm just using us as an example again, we can pull data from over 17 million homes that are available to us. The scale of the data allows us to use and see consumer segments with much more granularity. This is true especially at the local market level. Without big data approach, the sample size for a market like Detroit is small. There's about 2,000 people to represent a market of 4.2 million, which is just a fraction of the percentage of population. In the big data approach, we are now using over 630,000 households out of 1.4 million homes. That's about a 45% penetration. This lets you drill down to factors that are important for marketers. Let's just say you're an auto dealer in Detroit trying to sell trucks. Now you can get information on over 282,000 households in a market for a pickup truck versus just 39 people who answered a survey from our old way. This data that we're using creates a huge opportunity and a major change in video advertising. In traditional media, you start with a broad target like a demo, adults 25-54. And you want it broad for a couple of reasons. First, you're building a customer relationship with your future clients. This is the top of the purchase funnel. This is when you want to make a good impression so the consumer will think of you when they're ready to make that purchase. And part of the way to make that impression is by leveraging carefully chosen content. You know, you might put some rotators on ESPN. You might buy some broadcast television. You might run some local radio for round-the-clock coverage. You do this with some specific programming, and that's a great way to build brand awareness for your product. When you have sufficient data, you have a new relationship to your audience opportunities. We don't have to stick to a broad demo like adults 25-54. We now have enough data that we can actually zero in and go after people who own an SUV. We have the data that people care about and need in order for them to reach the correct people they're trying to reach. And I have to sneeze really quick, so I apologize. Let's take a look at the purchasing funnel. Content and broad appeal program will continue to drive awareness just as they've always done. Now let's take a look at how we can further get down that purchasing funnel. Data allows TV advertisers to focus on specific targets and their behaviors. We can now use this to really get people to consider buying or using your products or services. And the bottom line is we really want their intent in order for them to buy. Now the power of big data is available in a premium video environment. We never had that before. Targeting is used to be limited to digital and digital only in specific search environments. We can now attach some of this data into the highest quality video content available. This means that large portions of people's budgets that they normally put towards television and video, we can now make that much smarter than it always has been. We're going to talk a little bit about new advertising. Let's get straight in how video can be applied to advertising. We've already talked about how the new TV is a full funnel platform. Now we're going to further out and we're going to actually try to prove to you that using television and using attribution really makes a difference in what we're doing. Here are some examples how we can take advantage of the opportunity. Let's just take a look at a regional pizza chain, pretending that that's an advertiser. We want to target moms with kids. All right, she needs dinner on the table. Her husband's taking the night off of cooking. We're also going to look for another segment of sports fans. You can't take your eyes off the game. You need pizza. And lastly, young men, people or guys who are at home. They don't want to cook. They love pizza, and they probably can't afford much else when it comes to dining out. These are all great uses for cases for targeting. Once targets are determined, data allows us to understand how those targets are viewed via a simple tool, a ranker. The clients choose their segments. In this example, we're using pizza diners, which was the men with the low income from the previous example, and they find the networks where their segment watches in the highest concentration. They also look for the greatest number of pizza dinners in raw terms, and that's the rank of the most amount of people, or CUME as radio people call it, who are actually tuning into these networks. So the schedule they end up with has the best combination of sheer number of pizza diners and concentration of pizza moms. This allows marketers to balance reach and efficiency to achieve a successful campaign with an effective CPM, or cost per thousand. There's a lot more to it than that, but we always like to factor in cost, and we look at the ad opportunities that are available, and which are much more granular level than we just did there. But this gets the point across of how we are using data to pick and put your message in front of our targets. We try to balance reach and efficiency to achieve this high reach and desired target at an effective CPM. We also found that airing across platforms delivers an increased reach. This is a Comcast example. This is an example of a campaign that ran across linear and VOD, which is video on demand. Video on demand added an incremental 17% reach to the linear campaign, and there was very little overlap between the two. Our data is showing us that in Comcast homes alone, people are averaging about over 10% of their time on television is with video on demand. The full funnel solution does not stop at finding buyers. It's important to measure the impact further down the funnel. This is something that digital's always been able to do for their clients. The lowest part of the sales funnel is intent. And local TV is starting to get into the attribution game. We've started looking at our successes in driving visitors to our marketers' websites. Here's how it works. A unique viewer in a campaign becomes an immediate visitor if within 30 minutes of seeing an ad on TV, they go to the website mentioned in the ad. That's an immediate visitor. What we're seeing is, more often than not, we're seeing a spike in website traffic based on when someone viewed a spot on television or a commercial on television. We're going to do a little bit of a case study here just to show you what happened when a local auto dealer ran. What we do is we compare what an auto dealer's website traffic looked like prior to them running campaigns with us. We're not the only medium who's doing this now. I know radio is doing this as well. And we're both considered traditional advertisers, and we both believe in what we're doing does make a difference to people's bottom lines. The client website saw a 10% lift in immediate visitors, and that's the process I just mentioned, where someone went to the website within 30 minutes. It also saw a 19% increase in total website visits. That's all visits to the website out of the immediate visitor scenario. Finally, after this campaign aired, the auto dealer saw that 86% of these immediate visitors converted to their product page of their website. And that's really what our goal is here, is to try and convert people from seeing an ad to actually coming in and making a purchase and becoming a client for life. So, just to summarize everything, what is the new new TV? The new TV is a powerful new content reading over $67 billion a year in investment. It's tempting us to spend over a year of our time to watch all of it. The new TV provides multi-device access to new and old video content, commanding attention for almost 6 hours a day. The new TV is an application of big data to video, surfacing new audience segments. The new TV is a huge opportunity to leverage premium video for full funnel marketing goals. When I say premium video, we're not talking about user-generated video. We're talking about programs, original content developed by professionals. The new TV is proof that a full funnel video yields measurable results. So what's next? All of this creates an opportunity, and we want to ask ourselves these 3 challenging questions and to start thinking about transforming your advertising to align with the transformed video experience that we're calling the new TV. Can we translate customer knowledge into data? Can we follow the data to take advantage of all premium content? And can TV be as accountable as digital is, or maybe even more so? And that's what we call the new TV. No questions?
Thanks, Matt. I do have a question for you. So as a business owner, if you have a very limited budget, where do you suggest someone get started? What would you recommend would be the best area to consider an investment in the new TV?
In the new TV, first thing I would do was I would concentrate on my backyard, probably a 5 or 10 mile radius, depending on what type of business it has. Then what I would do is I would really sit down with the business owner and find out who is your client, who is your customer. Let us find out if we can go and use our data. And it's our first party data that we have on our set-top boxes. It's our first party data we have through all of our internet connections in households. We own more connections than anyone else here in the market. And what we then do is we will mirror that with third-party data, whether it be Experian or Polk for automobiles, and then we can find out what they're looking for, so we're not wasting money advertising. If I'm in Canton, why should I be advertising in Mount Clemens? Probably doesn't make sense. Yep. That's what I would do. I would sit down and honestly, we can work with budgets, anywhere from $250 a month up to, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month or even more. So we are an ideal solution, and not just us. There's a lot of other people out there who can do the same thing, but I would definitely work on putting my message in front of the right people using data in my own backyard.
Right. Very good. And how many small businesses would you say in Michigan are using the big TV, using the new, what's available to them? Is, a big part of the market, small part of the market? Give us an idea of what other business owners are doing so we know.
A lot of we just started using our data at the beginning of this year. And so obviously people go, I just only need to be in Red Wings, or I only need to be in Tigers or Monday Night Football. And once we show them data, and if they're believers in data, we get them. Yeah, that's part of everything we do. They definitely have some big, marquee programming to get the big mass audiences. But what they're doing is they're missing out on all these other people who are watching all these other networks.
Right.
So we are going to, with our local teams who sell local zoned advertising, we are we're pushing over 50% of our campaigns right now are being pushed this way with a data driven, and we look for that to be close to 75 or 100% within the next 12 months.
Great, good,
We're 100% data driven.
very good. Well, a lot of interesting stuff. I learned a lot that I didn't know. I'm sure others did as well. I don't see any questions. If there's other questions, feel free to send them on to me and I'll send them to Matt. This will be recorded and be posted on our website next week, early next week. So Matt, thank you so much for joining us today and doing this for our members. Members, I want to remind you that we do these monthly. Next month, we are doing LinkedIn for Business, and the week after, or the month after, November, we're doing preparing your business for a downturn in the economy. So be sure to stay tuned for those upcoming dates. All right, thanks, Matt. We appreciate it. Everyone have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.